Are you the type of person that just loves putting those details into your house that are handmade and conversational pieces? Boy, do I have a craft for you. Today we're making these copper wire with a crystal window charms. So if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in. The materials needed today are 10 gauge copper wire. This is size, and it's better to always have a bigger piece of wire than, of course, a shorter piece. This is 28 inches long, and that is about 72 centimeters. Okay, so copper wire, cutters, flat nose, needle nose, and then your crystal and any other beads that you would like. We might also be using, depending on if I'm putting beads, I might be using a 20 gauge or 22 gauge copper wire. Okay, and we need something to wrap the copper wire around just to form the shape that we want. This is kind of an oval at the top. Funny, it's round at the bottom and oval at the top. So I'm going for an oval shape, so this is perfect. And I am taking my copper wire pretty much in the middle. And before that, I'm just doing a loop in the middle, and this is going to be so that I can dangle something on the bottom. So we're just taking our needle nose pliers and making a loop, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to take our shape for forming and moving the copper around the shape. Like I said, I wanted not a circle exactly, so I found this, which is perfect. And you're trying to get the cross at the top pretty much in line with the loop. If it's a little off, that's okay. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap wire right here, so I'm actually just going to straighten these wires. Again, pretty much in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to try and make it as much in the center as possible, and we can reshape it. Okay, so that looks a little wonky, so I'm going to try and reshape it and moving this one over a bit. Okay, moving that over and up. You don't have to put this in, it's just a detail I wanted to add. So just adjust it as you go, and I think we're good there. And I'm going to move it over so that it goes up there. Perfect. And then you take your pliers and you squeeze together where you want it to go. There we go, like that. Perfect. And then I'm going to take some copper wire. I'm probably going to use, let's see, I'm going to start with a 20 gauge wire and go from there. So I'm just going to, it's more for decoration, but it also helps to keep it closed. Oh boy, I need to organize my copper wire. Okay, and we're closing it here, and we're just going to wrap it around nice and tight, like that. You can use pliers to keep it tight. You could actually put it in a vise if you want to keep the wire closed. But for now, I'm just going to do it this way and pull nice and tight. Use your pliers on one end. It'll help to pull it together to make it stiffer. Pushing this together more. There we go. Oh, there we go. And wrapping nice and tight. Perfect. And then going the other way with this. So I'm putting the pliers like that to keep it flat and then pulling on this end. That's working perfectly. Good. Okay, and like I said, handmade charm doesn't have to be perfect. Cutting off the excess here, putting it together, and then I'm going to do 2 spirals. This wire's a little longer, so I'm going to, that's perfect. And I'm actually going to cut this one about 2 inches, and we're going to do a spiral just to make sure that I didn't want the spirals matching on each side, so I'm making one lower than the other. Okay, and then going down. You can have fun with this. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. Okay, one is this way. You could match the spirals if you want, but I'm actually going to twist this one over like this some, and just to make it a little different. And then taking this and doing another one. So they're going to be lined up vertically, and that's kind of how the design I was thinking in my head. Now let's see how it works. Okay, well, they're not vertical, but when you're hanging it, you want to make sure that it hangs nicely. So just take a look at it and see if you're satisfied with how it is. And I'm satisfied with that because it's going to hang nice and straight with just a little thing off to the side. Just a fun little detail. Okay, now I'm cutting this. Okay, perfect. I have a fun little detail here. Now, the next part of this is I didn't think I was in the beginning, but I'm actually going to hammer this. You don't have to hammer it. I just like that it adds a little bit of texture and it flattens it out a bit. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now I'm going to take some 16 gauge wire, and not too much of it, to wrap it around the top and to make a loop so that I can hang the crystal. You could have done this whole wrapping in 16 gauge, and that's probably what I should have done, but I'm going to do this now. Okay, so we're just wrapping it around. I find sometimes with the thicker wire, it's sometimes harder to wrap it to keep it in place, but this seems to be working out rather nicely. So 16 gauge wire would have worked too. Okay, just adjusting it. And then we're bringing it through and down so that it's in the center. Bring it a little more to the center here. Good. And this side can be cut. Actually, yeah, this side can be cut off. Sometimes I get so involved in the craft, I forget that I'm filming. So sorry about that. We will try and work on that. And just cutting off one side, making sure no parts are sticking out, flattening it all. Perfect. And then with this one, I'm going to cut so that it's about 1.5 inches, like that. And I'm going to make a loop in the center here. And this is for hanging the crystal. There we go. Perfect. There's a loop right there. We're doing well so far. Just going to adjust, adjust, and adjust. There. Okay, amazing. Okay, for the crystal, I think before I put the crystal in, I'm just testing out what would look nice. And I have a little flower here. And I think I'm going to put the flower and then the crystal, and that way it takes up all the space. If you don't have a crystal, another option could be just doing a spiral wrap around a shell and hanging that in the center, and that would be beautiful as well. Nice and simple. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of 16 gauge wire, and I'm just going to do an S-shaped link so that I can hook the little flower to the top. Perfect. And then the other side. It's a very easy link. Now, because you want it in line, you've got to watch out where your one link goes this way, the other link goes this way. Closing that link and opening this one, just like that, so it's hanging. And I have been, lately, I have been doing wire, like a thin wire to wrap around, and I love the texture of that, so I'm going to do it again, I think. This is a 22 gauge wire. Before I put the crystal on, I think I'm going to do that and just grab any wire, and I'm just going to do it around the sides here just to add a little bit more texture. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can wrap however you want. You can also use a 20 gauge wire. Actually, yeah, 20 gauge wire, 22 gauge wire. I wouldn't go any smaller than that. And again, it's adding a very interesting texture to it. Oops. There we go. And then just keep it going. Yes, I am that person that changes the design as I go. I really think it needed a pop of color, and I thought that the crystal would actually go nicer below it. So I have this green glass bead that I'm going to use. This is 16 gauge wire that I'm cutting off. And I'm cutting off a substantial amount because I'm going at the bottom of the bead. I am just going to do a spiral. Oops, there we go. Just a little spiral like that. And then I'm going to do a back and forth design, a squiggle. Let's see how this works out. There, perfect. Flatten it. I could hammer this, but I'm not going to. Okay, amazing. And then I cut enough to make a link to fit it through this flower. Okay, and now I'm just hooking it onto this flower, and then I will close the link. Oh no, oh no. Getting another flower out because I squished it and broke it. So let's get another flower. Luckily I have more of those. Now I know that they're fragile. So let's start this again. Open this link to get the broken part out. And in fact, while this is out, I am going to link it to this side so it's easier. Close the link. There we go. And then put it on this link. That way I won't have any issues, hopefully, about closing it. Good. And there we go. Nice and gentle. These were little wooden flowers. Okay. Okay, I love how that looks. Oh my goodness. Okay. And now we're going to take another 16 gauge wire and we're going to wrap this crystal. And I'm just going to do a wrap around it. So I'm going to put a little spiral at the bottom, not a big one, a little spiral backwards. And then you're taking the pointy end of the crystal to the bottom and gently just wrapping this around. And you'll need to adjust it. Just make sure when you're doing this that it stays in. That's what the little spiral at the bottom is, to help it stay in place. Perfect. And once you're satisfied with it, cut it off. And because I want it to be a little dangly, I'm going to add an extra loop so that it moves around a bit. So this loop is to hook it into the other loop. Good. And so it's going to sit nice and flat that way. And then take a scrap piece of 16 gauge wire and make one of those S links again on both sides. There we go. In fact, you got to open up the links. I always close them by accident, but keep them open. First link it onto here and then secure it in place like that, squishing it, flatten this, and then you might have to open it a little bigger to fit over the 10 gauge. There we go. And then for the top, oh, that's looking so good so far. For the top, you could do a bunch of things. I would first, to finish it off, put a nice big ring on it. Probably with 16 gauge wire is fine. I'm using these pliers. I think they call them bale pliers. And I'm going to use the thickest thing at the bottom. And just make a loop like this. Cut it. And then it just makes it look finished for whatever you're putting dangling. Now, there's so many different things. You could put it on a leather strap. You could put it on a macrame cord, or you could do a bit of, and I'm thinking right now, you could do those just these S patterns, bigger S patterns with 16 gauge wire, and you could make a chain. Or you could make just a partial chain and then you could add something else if you get tired of making the chain, because it's a lot of repetition. And I'm just deciding, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a chain. In fact, am I? Let's think of this for a minute. I got to bend this. Oh, that's looking so good. Okay, because I'm going to hang this in the window, I could make this S hook chain. It's super easy. But I think I'm just going to grab some cord and hang it like that. I decided just to do it on a cord, but if you wanted to do that S hook chain, I have other tutorials that show you how to make that. I think I made a necklace once with that. We're just using some beige macrame cord. It's looking so good. And you can hang it in your window, you could hang it on the wall, whatever you decide. You don't even need this cord. You could just hang it on your wall. Thanks so much for watching. Keep those comments coming. I read them all. I try and respond to all of them. And we will see you in the next one.